G'day everyone, welcome to my wild, transformed looking nursery, my Carnivorous plants nursery. For those of you who have followed me on my Facebook page and my YouTube channel, you'd know that I used to have foam boxes up here. There's a shot there of the foam boxes that I used to use. Now the reason why I had foam boxes up there is because I used to put water in those boxes, and of course I used to place all of these pots in there to keep the plants watered. Now, whilst the foam boxes did a great job, kept the water nice and cool, it was a lot of hard work manually watering all of these plants, especially during those hot summer days where there was a high evaporation rate. A lot of the times I was watering twice a day. So yeah, not only was it a lot of work, it was also very time consuming as well. So what I've come up with, I often ask myself during the last growing season, there's got to be a better way. And what I came up with is a wicking system. It's basically watering your plants through a wick. So a wick basically draws up water through capillary action, and that keeps the peat moss nice and damp, which helps to keep your plants happy. And the wicks of all these pots over here are basically self-watering. I've inserted wicks in the base of these pots, and the wicks are basically going through this plastic lattice, and the wicks are going to these PVC pipes that contain water. And all of this project is known as the Blue Glove Project, purely because I've used blue latex gloves to provide a waterproof seal for those PVC pipes. And the reason why I did that is because I couldn't use PVC cement, because that would have leached out unwanted chemicals, which would have harmed my plants. But I tell you what, by just having the pots here, they're pretty much like wild plants, because I just basically sit and forget them. Once they've got the wicks in there, once the wicks are in the water, they basically look after themselves. And that's why it's not only changed the look of this nursery by not having those foam boxes, but also the feel of this place as well. It sort of feels like it's a wild, natural, carnivorous plants habitat now. And the beauty of the way I've set up my Carnivorous plants nursery is that I've got a lot more room now by not having those foam boxes, and now I can group my plants and I'm a lot more organised. So in this section here, I've got individual pots of big mouth Venus's Flytraps, which are for sale. So for any of my value visitors that come up here to buy, these plants here will be for sale. I've installed these polycarbonate sheets which provide wind protection, and it's also a great way for me to group these plants as well. Now in my next section over here, I've just basically got big mouth, well most of them are, but not all, big mouth varieties of Venus's Flytraps. This group here is basically just rhizomes, so this is just breeding Venus's Flytraps that produce rhizomes, and this is where I source my rhizomes from when people buy through my online shop. And I tell you what, in the last couple of weeks, so many people have been buying Venus's Flytraps through my online shop, and this is where I source them from. So it's early spring now, we've had some rain overnight, and with this sunshine, they're all coming up, they're all awakening out of their dormancy. And they're looking absolutely stunning with their bright red traps and their light green coloured shoots. Look how vibrantly coloured that one is. Now, also with the Venus's Flytraps, I've got these tropical sundews growing. They don't like the cold too much, but most of them seem to have survived. And also you can see these See these brown coloured, rusty brown coloured spore capsules? They grow from the green moss. It's not peat moss, but it's the moss that grows on the top of the peat moss. And it's got that beautiful green carpet-like texture. Not only does it look nice, but it also provides a sort of like a carpet, a blanket, which sort of reduces water evaporation from the peat moss, thereby keeping the moisture inside the pot and also keeping the peat moss nice and cool. That's unlike here. You can see it's just basically just peat moss, so there'd be a more high evaporation rate from this pot purely because there's not that much moss growing on top. But you'll notice that I do put sections of moss in there, and that's just to help it grow amongst all the plants. As I said, it looks beautiful, but it also has that beautiful wild natural look to it as well, as you can see right here. You can see there, Venus's flytraps there beautifully coming up. Moving along over here, you can see some of those old dead leaves there. They're from the previous growing season. Look at these ones coming up over here. Look how vibrantly red they are. You can see those light green shoots coming up, indicating they're well and truly awakening out of their dormancy. Beautiful. Now, let's go down the back there. Now I had two pots. They were quite small pots, so I had to sort of divide the Venus's flytraps. And from those two pots I came up with all these individual rhizomes, and they're looking really, really nice. I did that about 2 days ago, and I'm already starting to see green shoots coming out from the rhizome, which is always a great sign. Okay, looking down here, I've got some Saracenia seedlings. So they're as a result of my cross-pollination project, which I attempted for the first time. Just for fun, I thought I'd cross-pollinate 2 different varieties of plants here at my nursery, and these seedlings are the result. So they've gone through that winter dormancy period, so as the weather gets warmer, I'm expecting to see some fresh new shoots come up. Can't wait to see that. Okay, moving down here, I've got a G16 x G14 variety of Venus's flytrap. I'm basically out of stock on this variety. I didn't start off with very much from the beginning, but I'm going to be ordering more stock during this growing season. Now, I've left those old leaves on there just to give you an idea of just how much smaller they get during the winter. So these old leaves were formed in the warmer months, and then when winter arrived, these smaller leaves were produced, these stubbier leaves, and they've pretty much stayed there throughout winter. And as it gets warmer again, those longer leaves will start to come up. And you can see here as well, look at the difference in the size of these leaves which were produced in those warmer months. And now as spring is here, these shoots will slowly start to come out and they'll start to get bigger. So even though the Venus flytraps may be smaller in the early spring, as the leaves get produced, they will be bigger as they develop. Okay, now over here, there's not only just Venus's flytraps, I also have a special group of sundews. These are South African sundews, Drosera capensis. So I bought a group of them, about 18 months ago, and this one in particular struggled to adapt to the local growing conditions here. So I noticed that, and what I did was I attempted to change the humidity. I increased the humidity a bit for this plant, and I also filtered the light by providing some shade cloth over the top of it. And to my surprise, it responded really well. It sort of started to grow again because it was dying off. So that was around about autumn. So as winter approached, I allowed it to go through the winter dormancy period. And now that spring's here with we've had that beautiful rain overnight and this warm sunshine, it's really starting to come up, and you can see these new shoots starting to develop. So it's always a great sign. It's not that not much dew on those leaves, but I'm sure as the plant grows, more dew will develop on those leaves. Now, talking about dew, here's another variety of South African sundew, Drosera capensis. This is also part of the group that I bought. I bought about 5 different varieties, but you can see, hopefully, the dew on all those leaves. Look at that, how they glisten in the sunlight, hence the name sundews. It's that dew, that mucilage, which attracts and catches prey. And I've seen quite a lot of insects already being caught on these sundews. And you know something's been caught, apart from seeing the prey item. You'll notice that the leaf itself will start to bend. So whenever that prey item lands on that leaf, the plant senses movement around that area, and it will bend over the leaf to help capture it and to help digest it as well. There's also, just wait for this truck to go past. And a lot of these Drosera capensis will be producing flowers, and you can see the flowers there starting to develop, so that's going to be adding a dash of colour, and I can't wait to see that in the next couple of weeks. So as I said, this section here is the section where I source my rhizomes from for online purchases. And look at this one here. This is a shark's tooth variety. And you can see again the difference in the size. And it's called a shark's tooth because the ridges on there looks like shark's teeth. You can sort of see that there, yeah. But as the weather gets warmer, those traps will develop and the plant will get quite large. And you can see there in the middle there, that's quite a large trap where it's starting to form. So yeah, again, if you get your rhizomes in early spring, they will be smaller, but as the weather gets warmer, those traps will get larger. So yeah, don't feel disappointed by that. Okay, so moving along here, this is another section here which I have freshly repotted a lot of my Saracenias. A lot of them are for sale individually for my valued visitors that come up here to my nursery, and they're the ones that have been labelled. They're the ones that I'll be selling. So this one over here is a Saracenia Flava Ribacupura variety. These are a very, very popular variety, which is quite a rare variety, which grows in the Florida Panhandle. It grows beautifully. It's got a very, very beautiful colour as well. There's some more Ribacupuras over here. They're all coming up with their dark red shoots, indicating that they're coming up out of dormancy. And for some of these flowers, or some of these plants, I've left the flowers on there. So normally what I do is I'll normally cut those flowers off. The reason, you can see that here where I've done that. The reason why I do that is because flowers, as they develop, tend to draw a lot of energy out from the plant. So rather than seeing the flowers, I'd rather just see the leaves develop. And by cutting those flowers off, it helps the energy be diverted to the leaves rather than just the flowers. I thought I'd leave a few on here, so for my valued visitors here, you can see and appreciate just how beautiful and unique these flowers are. They really are unique, as like all of these carnivorous plants. And you'll notice how the flower stalk is starting to bend. That's purely because these flowers are quite heavy. So it makes sense, because if it's just straight up like that with a flower starting to develop on the end, that will start to really sway around in any breeze. But by having a bend there, it sort of stabilizes that flower, and yeah, it's got a beautiful look to it. And this flower here, because the flower stalk has bent, indicates that that flower is not far off from developing. Okay, so I've got some more of those Saracenia seedlings here, which were a result of that cross-pollination project. Just put them in a separate pot to see how they go. Got another variety here of Saracenia. This was bought from a retail outlet. I'm not sure, it wasn't labelled, so I'm not sure what it is and what's been crossed with. I just thought I'd keep it. Looks beautiful. It's very low lying. It's only about 15 centimetres high, these traps. But I just love that red, deep red coloration. And, surprise, surprise, I've got some more South African sundews here. They're looking absolutely gorgeous. And you can see how there's a flower stalk starting to emerge. So I know that some of them have got different coloured flowers, so I just can't wait to see the colour effect when those flowers get produced. Oh, that's what I wanted to show you. Over here, look at that. There's a mosquito there. And I just love seeing all different types of insects getting caught, especially mosquitoes. It's nice to have some sort of organic pest control in your nursery, and they look quite beautiful as well. So yeah, nice to have them. Okay, moving along. On our next section, these are basically just breeding rhizome plants, pot plants. And basically what I do is I just allow them to grow in the pots, and when the pots get too small I then simply divide them and sell them individually. You've got a Saracenia Flava Ribacupura variety here, and look at this special little flower plant here. This is a native sundew, a native Australian sundew. This is a Drosera Banata tea form, and if you look carefully you might see the fork shaped leaf there. See that fork shaped leaf there? And you can also see it over here as well. So there's two fork shaped leaves forming on that one leaf stalk. So yeah, it's quite a unique and beautiful plant. And as you can see here, a lot of these are coming up with their traps, and some have developed faster than others, including this one over here. I'm betting that this is going to be probably the first one that's going to be developed at my nursery. This is a Saracenia Flava. The variety is called Ribacupura, a very, very popular variety here. And it's no wonder why. It's because look at this deep red coloration over here as well. It looks like a deep clay red colour, and you can see the green contrast here on the hood. So yeah, it won't be long before that starts to develop. Now just want to show you something else. You'll notice when I touch this trap here, it's quite erect, it stays upright. That's because it's getting plenty of sunlight. If you don't give them a lot of light, they tend to get floppy, and you don't want that. Now Saracenias, or North American pitcher plants, they don't have branches, so all the strength for pitchers lies in the base where the rhizome is, and also in the base of the pitcher. So that's why by giving them that sunlight, they do form those erect pitchers. It also helps, not only does it look nice, but it also ensures that their trapping mechanism functions. Saracenia rely on gravity for insects to fall into the pitchers, and those pitchers have to be upright for that to work properly. So yeah, it's important to give them plenty of sunlight. And looking down the back there, I've got a pot there full of Saracenia Flava Tarnock variety rhizomes. I've just put fresh peat moss in there in the last growing season, and look at the result. They're really coming up strongly. Look at that, beautiful vibrant growth coming up, lovely. And right down the back is a Saracenia Flava. The variety is called Capria. It's a copper top variety of North American pitcher plant, and that is a very impressive plant. That pitcher there, I'd say it's around about 60 centimeters high now. I was thinking that was going to be the first one that's going to develop, but I'm thinking now it's going to be this Ribacupura. But yeah, as you can see, plants have developed earlier than others, and I can't wait to see how this whole nursery looks like when they all fully develop. It'll be beautiful. Alright, so just moving along over here, this is my last section, and this here, in this section here, is individual pots. So anyone that visits here will be able to buy these pots individually. I've got different varieties of North American pitcher plants. That's a Saracenia Flava tarnok variety. Over here is a Saracenia Flava rugelii, I think it's pronounced. Another one over there. Look at that beautiful green, lime green colour shoot. And out the back, oh, that was just opened up. That wasn't opened before. That's just opened up in the last half hour. Wow, incredible. Let's have a look. Oh, hold on. Oh, that's in the same pot. Nope, I've got two varieties in the one pot. I think I might keep that one actually. Let's just turn that around. Oh no, it isn't. It's in different pots. Sorry. So that's a Saracenia Flava Ribacupura variety there. I thought they were in the same pot, but they're all different. Yeah. Alright, so just moving along here, this is a hybrid Saracenia Flava red tube crossed with an Alata red throat. It's all been clearly labelled here. It's an all red pitcher plant, and it's a very popular variety here. They're all very popular here, but yeah, this one here really does stand out with its bright red coloration. I'm using these larger plant labels now than I did in the last growing season, and I'm also using this weatherproof ink now that doesn't fade away. So for all purchases now in my plants, I will be using this ink, so you can be sure that it won't fade away throughout the growing season, and you'll know exactly what type of plant you have for many years to come. And here's another shot here, looking back down there, other varieties, Ribacupura there, rugelii, and I've also got Saracenia Flava tarnok varieties. Yeah, they're all looking beautiful. Oh, I can just hear a fly buzzing around over my head. That's another good sign that the insects here are out and about. But yeah, I just can't wait to see when everything starts to develop, all the plants start to bring up their shoots. It's really going to add a beautiful look and feel to this nursery, that wild natural look. Oh, this is what I wanted to show you as well. Down here I've got a beautiful, look at that one flower there all by itself, that yellow one there. Every time I see these, they remind me of small aeroplanes with those flaps on either side. I didn't know what they were for a couple of years because they were a bit of a mystery to me. Didn't know what they were, and then one of my Facebook followers informed me that it's a terrestrial bladderwort. So it's a carnivorous plant that has traps in the peat moss, and it catches organisms in the peat moss, and it produces these beautiful vibrantly coloured yellow flowers. They're so unique in their shape and form, and they come up in early spring. So yeah, just adds another dash of colour. And that's about it for now. So hopefully, geez, I'd love to know what you guys think about my nursery, whether it does look like a more natural looking nursery, wild looking, compared to the one that I had before. Just leave your comments in the comments area. If you love my video, please like it, and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to get some more quality carnivorous plants videos. Till next time everyone, happy growing.